Hey, and good Friday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back with you here on the Weather Nerds YouTube channel with the weather report on your December the 12th, 2025. I'm your no-nonsense weather guy here, giving you the facts without all that social media hype and keeping you safe. Be prepared and not scared. That's our motto here. And if you're tired of the hyperactive weather guys that are out there in the YouTube universe or anywhere out on social media, please consider being a subscriber. It'd be a pleasure and an honor to be one of your weather sources here. And let me put my experience to work for you. All right, let's go ahead and get into this report. We're going to be talking about some bitterly cold air that's going to be coming in. And then we're going to talk about what we expect as we get closer to the Christmas holiday. It definitely looks like it might be shaping up to be like a tale of two seasons, depending on where you are across the country. But the overall trend right now is for a warmer period, but I don't think it's going to be for everybody. And again, we're still a couple of weeks away. It may change just a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our highs and lows from yesterday. Let's go ahead and talk about that first. Let me get my little snapshot here. I got my little locations here up for you. So our cold spot yesterday was minus 13 in Cook, Minnesota, as well as Lake Sherwood. All right, minus 13 up there in Minnesota. And our warm spot there in Southern California, Woodcrest, California, 89, as well as Woodland Hills and Fillmore, all hit 89 there in Southern California. So anyway, one thing I've noticed here, and I got a studio mode here, as I'm looking at our satellite picture, I mean, you can clearly see where our jet flow has been like this. That's our northern branch. Notice we're not really seeing anything down here. So subtropical stuff has been pretty much cut off. There's no Pacific moisture coming over, no overrunning opportunities here, no nothing right now. Now, La Nina forecast was released yesterday. It's still forecast to weaken and be heading toward a neutral phase as we go into January. I think that'll kind of allow things to get a little better as far as precipitation chance, especially across the southern tier, which has been running very dry. A lot of lakes are dropping quite a bit here. But we are going to be in for an active weather pattern. We got a couple of Alberta Clipper systems in. We got some snow out there to talk about. You can see this here on the current weather map. It has a nice little snow here coming across portions of the mid-Atlantic here for this morning, across Virginia, portions of northern North Carolina, Kentucky, West Virginia, getting on that. Here goes some more snows back here to the west here. Seeing a minus 11 up there. There's a minus 16 just over the border there up into Canada. So we're going to have some areas I think will be flirting with minus 20 as this thing comes on down with this next surge coming at us. And then once this Arctic air pulls out, we'll get a little bit of a break. Although we got one fairly decent system maybe toward the Thursday next week. It's looking a little better than it did yesterday. It's been the model's been flopping a little bit on that. Let's go look at your watches and warnings, and you can pretty much tell which way the storm track's been coming with these winter systems. They've just been going right down here. Of course, you got all these winter weather advisories here. Winter storm warnings out here in Montana. Pretty heavy rains there across the Pacific Northwest. We got some fog down here in South Texas. Freeze warnings down here across Florida and Georgia. And, of course, got a little bit of snow there across the Great Lakes as well. All right, so let's go look at the big picture here. Let's go talk about this. The only thunderstorm threat, by the way, just got to show you here, is Florida. We thought yesterday they were putting some thunderstorms across the south. Looks like that's not going to happen. Just as going for tomorrow, South Florida. That'll be for day 2 and day 3, by the way. Same general location here in South Florida. That's the only place to see any kind of thunderstorm. So just want to get that out of the way here. As we're seeing. Let's go ahead and look at our NAM here, latest 6Z run, 3-kilometer run, as we're tracking these snowy systems that are coming into the Midwest and into the Northeast once again, and with this very cold weather coming on down. So you can see where the snows are going to be falling here as it kind of traverses where that northwest flow, which has been kind of stuck there for a while. That flow is going to be going away here soon. I see a little bit of rain here across the south. Got another little weak system coming up to the Pacific Northwest, but got one exiting system here, and then we got another one dropping down behind this one. It's this one here that's going to have the much cold air. This is the one that's going to be diving down. This bitterly cold air coming in across the Great Lakes and coming down here across areas of the Midwest, and kind of a glancing blow here and down here in the deep south. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about precipitation. Again, not a whole lot. Look at this. This is the precipitation look. Maybe some rains, decent rains here to Texas, the Northwest. Well, of course, this is all snow up in here. This is all snow. Water content wise, pretty dry, but you can see the path there coming out of Montana. I got some decent snows, 10, 12 inches up here in the mountains of Montana, going through 1 o'clock on Sunday. And you got this nice little path here, 4 to 6 inches here, going all the way down here through Iowa, Illinois, and some higher down here into obviously the Appalachian Mountains here in West Virginia. Of course, some here across New York State. So you see the UP, Michigan, pretty good snows up here as well. Looking at 14 inches, 9 inches. So the little lake effect's going to kick on with this cold air coming on down. That's for sure as this goes on by. And even some snow's getting down here in the Smokies. Yeah, I'll leave you guys out here down here toward the southern part of the Appalachian chain. The Smoky Mountains also looking at a little snow here in North Carolina as well. All right, so let's get into the temperature regime. This is, again, your NAM. The purple is your below zero readings, and it's going to be really coming on down here, especially as we go into your Sunday morning. Now, we'll say the NAM is, I think, a little conservative. It's only showing like -11, -10. I think it's going to be colder than that based off what's coming upstream here. So I think between -15, -20 looks pretty reasonable there for a lot of Minnesota. Look, the entire state of Minnesota is below zero there. Wisconsin as well going into Sunday morning. We got freezing temperatures look how much of the country is seeing temperatures below freezing there on your Sunday morning. So quite nippy, quite cold as that goes on in. And then through Sunday, throughout the day, the temperatures in the south are going to be falling into the 30s. Look at these temperatures here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the 30s across North Georgia there, down in my neck of the woods. All right, so let's talk weather pattern here. All right, so I'm going to slow this down. I want to show this quickly. We got the cold shot. This is what's coming down here for this weekend, all right? So our jet stream flow, got the big ridge out in the west. We got our cold air here. This is your typical, hey, let's bring on our cold air. Let's bring that down. We're going to see some big changes with this. We got one more storm system. We got another one here. This is looking a little bit better than yesterday, so it's a little stronger. Going into Thursday, maybe a little brief cool down there across the northwest. Once that moves out, we still are seeing, again, this big high that starts to develop here going into Christmas week across the south. Cold here, and then the cold air is going to be really kind of locked up toward the north. All right, so that high gets even stronger. Check that out, going into the 23rd and going into the 24th. So look at it, just huge ridging here. Okay, so quite a bit of warm air across the south, and going into Christmas Day, it's even more pronounced. I mean, just a big old area of high pressure here across the south. Now, it's 2 weeks out, but this is a pretty good pattern shift. And so you might ask, well, how do you know it's going to be that way 2 weeks from now? Well, we're kind of you work out the fine details, but when you see a pattern change like this, it's usually pretty set. And just like we had the cold air came in after Thanksgiving, I sat there and I told everybody, I said, well, if it's cold for the first week of December, the odds of this holding on until Christmas were not very high, because we know typically when we get these kind of pattern changes, it's 2-3 weeks and then it's going to flip again. And that's what we got going on here. And I think we'll see that again. So my thinking is we probably won't see another cold pattern, at least for the eastern half of the United States, until after the first of the year. Okay, if everything works out. Now, could it change? Sure. Weather's not an exact science, but I'm just going off, what I've seen historically, what I've seen in the past. And right now, we don't have any real big storm systems here over the next 10 days too. The only decent system is this one coming out there. This one's a little bit, 2 days ago, this was looking pretty promising. Yesterday, it backed off. Overnight, it's now looking a little bit promising, a little bit better here. A little more dynamic system here. Maybe rumbles of thunder with this, and this cools off, and then we get a little cold surge there in the northeast. And then we got another storm system coming on the west coast. Again, typically, I don't like going beyond 10 days here on the precipitation stuff, because it really is a extrapolation at that point. So, again, we're looking for model tendencies here. All right. Now, as far as the precipitation is concerned, West Coast stays very active. One difference from yesterday is it's not quite as much California getting the heavier precipitation on the 10-day as compared to the other one. Oh, I'm all the way out. There you go. Let's go out to 240 there. Yeah, it comes in a little bit toward the end. It's a little bit later, so it looks like it's delaying it a couple days there on the West Coast, just a couple days before it kind of works its way down in Northern California. So just a slight shift to the right a little bit. But Washington State, Oregon looking pretty wet there. Again, the east, not bad. Very dry here across Southwest, Southern California, Texas. Southeast, way underdone as far as what they should be seeing. General rainfall every 3, 4, 5 days, not getting that. Northeast stays active with a snowy pattern up there. All right, so speaking of that, let's go and switch over to the, I did not switch this over to the, let's go switch over to the winter precipitation mode. Take a look at that as well. So here goes your snow totals here. Again, kind of backing off here on the 10-day, still very snowy across the Intermountain region. The green is in feet of snow across Washington State. Snowy across the Northeast. Not quite as much snow up here across the high plains. Starting to temper that a little bit. And areas that have gotten snow in the Midwest, I think are going to melt a little bit, especially with the warmer weather that's expected to come at us as we go toward Christmas. All right, now speaking of that, let's go take a look at this. So again, here is the 10-day loop of the temperatures. Again, look, here's that cold core coming at us here. There's our cold temperatures going into Sunday. And as we go deeper into, again, look at here on your Monday morning. I got freezing temperatures all the way to the Gulf Coast. We got teens all the way down to North Georgia, single digits across Kentucky, below zero still there across Indiana, single digits all the way up here. So we got a very, very cold air mass here on your Monday morning. But then we're going to modify things a little bit. There's another cold shot coming down on Thursday. You see how much the blue kind of evades out. And then as we go toward Wednesday, we got another little clip. Here's another little surge. So you get some below zero there up along the northern tier on Thursday. This is going to come right into the northeast. So we got one little cold shot. Not quite as bad there, but this is pretty cold here up across Minnesota, minus 19, minus 21. And this stays up to the north and goes into the northeast. I tell you, the northeast looks pretty cold on this weather pattern. It continues to hold on, but even if the rest of the country warms up. Now, speaking of that, I do want to show you this. Let's go over to here. Again, kind of looking at the jet stream flow. Again, you can see that northwesterly flow continuing here. Now, what's going to end up happening here as we go through this period, it's going to start flattening out here. Again, this is the trough on for this weekend. This pulls out, and then we really flatten it out. Now, what the big thing is, look that big high pressure has been off the west coast. That goes away. That's why we get those rain that's showing up back there on the west coast there. We start getting that storm track coming back in the west. There you go. That to 23rd. There we go. Bringing us some rains and storms out in the west going out to the end of this. Look at the ridging here across the south, though. So that means we're going to be pretty warm. And it looks like we're going to see really a tale of two seasons here going to Christmas Day. So this is not a forecast. This is a snapshot. We're kind of looking to see what's going on here with the trends here. This is for Christmas Day. All right. So what you're basically looking at Christmas Day is a very warm and mild here across the southern tier. Cold in the north, up in the northeast. A little cold here in the Intermountain region, but that's about it. So let me go a little bit closer here for you. I'll show you the regions here. We'll start off in the east first. Let me show you the east. So the east, you're talking about here, looking at temperatures above, way in 60s and 70s, just real ungodly warm there. But the northeast, you're looking at temperatures there getting down below zero in single digits. So cold air up that way. And as you go toward the west, it's the west coast is going to be looking pretty cold there across the Intermountain High region, but also not that bad across the southwest as well. But you can see it's definitely a snapshot of where we got a tale of two seasons going on across the continental United States. So kind of splitting in half. So we'll work out the fine details on that weather pattern as we get closer. But right now, what the Climate Center is saying, hey, we're going to see warm up here. And it's a substantial pattern shift. So again, we're talking about, let me go back here to the 6th of this. So this is going out from the 17th to the 21st. See, a lot of the country pretty warm. And then going for the 8th, 14th. So I kind of agree with this. We kind of saw that cold shot kind of coming up here, going up toward the northeast there, going into Christmas. A little cold along here, but a lot of the country here pretty warm. This goes right up to Christmas Day. And then the active weather pattern continues out on the west coast. We at least start to get some grain down here, getting into California now. They've been dry for a while with this weather pattern we've been stuck in basically since Thanksgiving. And looks like that's going to continue right into the 25th. But the southern tier continues to stay dry. Like I said, really concerning. I know like the lake levels near my home, for example, if the trend continues, they're going to be the lowest they've been in about 10 years. So it is definitely trending in the wrong direction. Now, hopefully with La Nina going away, expected in January, where the dry weather's been sitting will turn a little more active. The subtropical jet stream will get a little more active, and we'll see a little more rain chances across the south. But that La Nina influence is still there, still lingering, and continue that west and that active weather out there on the west coast. That's very typical with the warm negative PDA as well. So anyway, who we got out there this morning? Let's see. We got... looking here, I can't see. I'm just going to get up for a second because I can't read. My eyes are balls over. Julia Taylor, Cherokee, Georgia. Good to see you. Rita, Mick, Edith. Good to see y'all out there this morning. I appreciate that. I couldn't read that. I need to make that bigger next time. So I appreciate you guys checking us out here for this morning. Again, we're going to be watching this cold weather here through the weekend. But again, we'll get a little bit of a break for a lot of the country, except for the folks in the Northeast. Those guys up there, I think they're going to stay on the chilly side. So anyway, that is y'all's weekend update. I appreciate you. We'll see you back here on Monday. We're going to be tracking some pretty cold temperatures on Monday. And I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. All right. You guys take it easy. Be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next week. You guys have a great, safe weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.